Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum and good day to all. I hope that you are in good condition. So for today's lesson, I would like to continue on what we have learned before this about the Sihatiwyat, how to use the formula. I want to add up the knowledge for you regarding the usage of the formula. Right, so let's have a look at this. This is what you have seen before in the Sihatiwyat. I just want to recall it for you, for those who might have forgotten. So for Sihat group, you have she, it, he, Ali, and Tima. So for she and he, it is dia in Bahasa Melayu. But when it is a woman, you have to use she. And if it is a man or a boy, you have to use he. Right. Other than human, you are going to use it for ear. For example, your cat, you will say it is. For your car, you will say it is my car, for example. Right? And you will be able to see Ali and Tima here. Okay, for those who might have forgotten, the name is just to represent one singular name. Ali for a man or a boy, Tima for a girl or a woman. I can or you can replace Ali with another man's name, another boy's name. For example, my name Haziq. I can replace it with Ali here. Okay? And for Tima, it can be any girl's name, any woman's name. For example, like Aisha, as long as it is one name. For the next group, we have I. I means saya. And the next group, we have Wiyat. We, you, Ali, and Tima, and also they. So for we, you have to remind yourself, we means kami. Kami involves you in the situation. If in the subject there is no you, yourself is not in the subject, in the situation, you cannot use we. For example, my father and my brother. So you are not there. Therefore, you cannot use we. You have to use they. However, if the sentence use subjects like my brother and I, remember, my brother and I, you are in the situation, right? So you can replace that with we. For example, my brother and I go to school. We go to school by bus. So you replace my brother and I with the pronoun of we. So you have to remind yourself about that. Next, you have you. You is for kamu or awak. And last but not least, you have here Ali and Tima. Remind yourself the names can be replaced as long as you are using or writing or saying more than one name. I use the same example like just now, Haziq and Aisha. So you can replace it here, Ali and Tima. As long as it is more than one name. Ali, Tima, Abu, and Ahmad. There are 4 of them, right? 4 names there. So they are belong in the Wiyat group. So everyone, I hope you have the better understanding in order to use this Sihatiwyat. You should know that Sihat and I are the singular pronoun, and the Wiyat here are actually the plural pronoun. Okay, so how are you going to use it to apply the formula of this Sihatiwyat? Okay, before we talk about that, I want to bring you back to the exercise that you have done before this. Here you have it, right? You have the usage of verb to be with the guidance from Sihatiwyat formula. So as you can see, for Sihat group we use is, for I we use am, for Wiyat we use are. Okay, I want to tell you that for present tense, you are going to use these three verb to be: is, am, and are. You have two more verb to be, which is was and were, but those two are used only for past tense. Okay, so why do we have present tense? Why do we have past tense? That I will try to elaborate more on the next slide. Okay, you have to understand that in English, whatever action you do, it depends on the time. When you do something yesterday, when you do something today, when you do something on the next day, you have to say the action word differently. As an example, let's say you are talking about eat. You eat. I love to say you eat nasi lemak. Okay, when you say you eat nasi lemak, you are talking about it in present tense. But if you say you ate nasi lemak, you are using it in past tense to show that the action has been done before this. Alright, don't worry so much about those things. I just want you to understand the idea first. We are going to focus on one after another. We are doing it one by one. So remind yourself that for these tenses, as I have explained to you, past tense, present tense, future tense, these are all kata kerja yang menunjukkan waktu. All the actions, the verb, perbuatan, it shows the time, right? So for you are going to look at these four: simple past tense, past continuous tense, simple present tense, and present continuous tense. In this lesson, we are going to focus on simple present tense. So let's talk about it. You have to understand that simple is mudah. Mudah, senang, sesuatu yang senang. So when you want to say a simple sentence, especially in present tense, so the first one is the example. Let's say you want to say saya bermain badminton. Okay, so in English you will say I play badminton. Next, you want to say something in present. Present means sekarang, okay, or something that you do every day. Okay, for example, like saya pergi ke sekolah. You do that every day, right? But not now in PKP for sure. Before this, every day you go to school. So you can say I go to school. And for example, like me, I want to tell you that I am your teacher. So I am using simple present tense. I am a teacher. Saya ialah seorang guru. Or you want to tell your friend about your father. Let's say your father is a firefighter. So you are going to say my father is a firefighter. So if you can see the difference there, when you change the subject, the verb will also change. For example, if you look at the first one, I play badminton. If you want to talk about your brother, for example, you want to say he. You can't say he play badminton because it is wrong. And that is what I am going to explain to you after this. So let's have a look at the next slide. I want you to understand this. Whenever you are making a sentence, you must need three things. These three things is a must. If not, your sentence would be wrong. You must have the first thing, subject, the second one, the verb, and the last one, the agreement to the subject and the verb or the object. As long as you have these three, your sentence is complete. And when you are using the correct verb, you are making it totally correct. So that is what we want to learn. In this example, I show you she is a teacher. We are using the pronoun of she as the subject. Therefore, we have to use is as the verb. In order to complete the sentence, we use a teacher as the agreement. She is a teacher. Dia ialah seorang guru. The difference is when you change the subject. Here, from she is a teacher, I change the subject to I. When I change the subject to I can no longer use is, because for I, the verb to be, the correct verb to be is am. I still have the subject, the verb, and the agreement, right? But I need to change the verb because I need it to be correct. So therefore, I am using I am a teacher. Let's try again. Now, I am changing the subject to we in the Wyat group. We. It is the same. I cannot use is, I cannot use I cannot use am because the subject is we. For we have to use are. The verb to be, we have to use are. We have to say we are teachers. Definitely we cannot say we are a teacher because we is meant to replace more than one person. Mereka, right? Kami, right? So kami, it cannot be only one person. If you say we are a teacher, definitely it is wrong. Kami ialah seorang guru. Mana boleh seorang guru? Kami ialah guru. So that is the simplest way that I can show you on how when you change the subject in a sentence, you would also have to change the verb. So for the time being, we are focusing on the simple present tense. So now we are looking at the verb to be of is, verb to be of am, and verb to be of are. So what about other sentences in simple present tense when we are using action words like play, eat, jump, for example, ride, drive, all those things. This is what I want to show you. So get ready. Alright, for the first thing that you have to understand, these are the rules. Rules adalah peraturan. So if you ask me why is the rule something like this, add as, no as, I have to say that that is the rule. Itulah peraturannya. So in which situation that you are going to add the as to Sihat, no as to I, and Wyat. No as also for Wyat. Alright. These are the example. Okay, look at the sentence. Watch carefully. I am using Ali as the subject here. Ali. Ali. I say Ali plays badminton. Why do I add as? Look at your Sihatiwyat formula. Ali. Here, you have to add as. Where to add the as is at the verb. Can you see this? This is the verb, right? Play. So Ali plays badminton. As usual, I told you, you have to make sure that you have the subject, the verb, and the agreement in a sentence. So we have all three. Ali as the subject, plays as the verb, badminton is the agreement. It's just that we need to know the correct verb. So the correct verb, when you are using the subject of Ali, a name for a person, for a boy or man here, you must add an s. So let's say you change the verb from plays to jump. So should you say Ali jump or Ali jumps? Correct. You have to say Ali jumps because the subject is Ali. You have to add S here. Okay. Let's look at the other example. I change Ali to I. The subject, I change Ali to I. So I play badminton. This time around, I did not add S to the verb. And why is that? Remember, look at the subject. Look at the subject. Let's go back to our formula. The subject is I. Therefore, there's no need for you to add an S. What happens if you say I plays badminton? Would it be correct or would it be incorrect? Again, if you add an S here, for example, I plays badminton, should it be correct or incorrect? Yes, it is incorrect because you only add S for the Sihat group. See, like Ali here, Ali plays. But for I, there's no S. Right? So let's have a look at the next example. I change the subject again to they. I change the subject again to they. So I am going to use verb. The verb here, play without S. And why is that? Look at the Sihatiwyat formula. They. So there's no S there. There is no S there. So you should not say they plays. You have to say they play. They play badminton. Again, in this sentence, we have all three things, the subject, the verb, and the agreement. It's just that we have to make sure that the verb is correct. Once the sentence is complete with all three things, the subject, the verb, and agreement, we have to make sure that the verb is correct. Okay? So this is the first, other than verb to be, this is another rules in simple present tense that you have to know. So this adding S or no S is applicable for verb like play, eat, run, drive, what else? Climb, all those verbs. But for some other verbs, you can't add S, but you have to add ES. You have to add ES. Just now, you add S or no S, but this time around, add ES instead of adding S only. Because there are some verb, ada sesetengah kata kerja, some action word in English, you can't simply add S because that is totally wrong. Even though you say that, I have to add S because this is she, the subject is she, I have to add S. But you're adding it to the wrong verb. Therefore, your sentence still would be incorrect. So let's have a look at the example. Here, I am using the verb go. Go. So the subject here is he. The subject here is he. When we look back at the Sihatiwyat, he, we have to add ES. Therefore, you will say he goes. He goes to school. We have the subject, we have the verb, we have the agreement. And we have to make sure that the verb is correct. Like I said just now, for certain verbs, you can't simply add S. You imagine that you add GOS here. what are the meaning of goes? G-O-S, goes. You have to write it as G-O-E-S, add the E-S to show that the subject is in Sihat group or singular pronoun. So he goes to school. Now I want to change the subject. I change the subject to I. This time around, there's no ES. There's no ES. Okay, refer back to the Sihatiwyat. The subject is I. And there is no ES added to the verb. See? What happens when you say I goes to school? Is it correct or incorrect? I goes to school. You add ES here. What happens? Is it correct or incorrect? Okay, good. It is incorrect because if the subject is I, you should not add any ES. Okay? Next one. Now I am using Ali and Tima. Ali and Tima. Again, I want the verb to be correct. I want the verb to be correct. Let's have a look at the Sihatiwyat formula. So for Wiyat, here Ali and Tima, there's no adding ES. There's no need to add ES. So here, Ali and Tima go to school. You can't say Ali and Tima goes to school because the verb is wrong. Even though your sentence is complete with subject Ali and Tima, but when you say goes to school, Ali and Tima goes to school, you are using the wrong verb there. Look at here. You have to refer to the subject, and once you have referred to the subject, look at your Sihatiwyat formula. The subject is Ali and Tima. There should be no ES. Okay. See? Ali and Tima, no ES. Go to school. So now you have seen the example to add as to the verb, to add ES to the verb. If you notice, the one that you have to add is only for the Sihat group. Let's have a look at the Sihatiwyat formula. Here, the Sihat group is the only part or the subject that you have to add ES. Same goes with add as. You see? The Sihat group. It's only the Sihat group, the subject, when it is in Sihat group, then only you have to add as or add ES, right? The rest, you don't have to add ES or S at all. So let's have a look at the next one. Just now you learn about add as, add ES. The last one that you have to know in simple present tense is to add the IES. Basically, you have to remove and add IES. Okay, let's have a look at the example. Okay, here I am using the verb of cry. The verb of cry. So my sentence is the baby cries loudly. The baby cries loudly. Alright. The actual word, the root word is cry. C-R-Y, cry. So I want to show that I am using a subject of which belongs to the Sihat group. It is singular pronoun. Okay, you might say, sir, I don't find the baby in Sihat group. But you have to think, the baby. So it can be a he, it can be a she, right? So when it is she or he, it belongs to the Sihat group here. Okay? Therefore, you have to add IES. You have to add IES. The baby cries loudly. Before you add the IES, make sure to remove the Y because the original word is cry, C-R-Y. Again, like I said, you might have complete sentence with the subject, with the verb and the agreement, but once the sentence is complete, you have to make sure that you are using the correct verb. To get the correct verb in this sentence, we have to refer to the subject. Here, the subject is the baby. Therefore, we have to add IES after we remove the Y here. Are you still with me? Good. Now, let's have a look at the next example. Now I am using the subject of I, and I use the verb cry again. I cry loudly. What happens if I change cry to cries, C-R-I-E-S? Would my sentence be still correct? No, right? Good. No, it will be incorrect because to add IES, you need the subject from the Sihat group like the baby. But here, the subject is I. The subject is I. So therefore, there's no need for you to add anything. You don't have to add IES. Right? Okay. Another example. My sister and I cry loudly. I have the subject, my sister and I. I have the verb, cry. I have the agreement, loudly. My sister and I cry loudly. But how am I going to make sure that I am making the correct sentence? I have to look at the subject. I am going to look at the subject. Again, you might say, Sir, I can't find it in the Sihatiwyat group. You have to think. You have to think. My sister and I. Remember, when it involves you in the situation, when you are in the sentence, are you going to use we or they? Yes, it is we, not they. So therefore, when you are using we, you are using the subject from the Wiyat group. Therefore, there's no need for you to add the IES. So my sister and I cry loudly. You can't say my sister and I cries loudly. So again, if you notice, the only subject of which you have to add S, ES or IES are those from the Sihat group. She, it, he, Ali and Tima. Let's have a look at it again. This is for the Sihat group when you want to add IES. This one, again, the Sihat group, you have to add ES. And this is also the subject that belongs to the Sihat group, whereby you have to add S. See? Okay. So, you have to understand that when you are writing the sentence, number one, you must make a complete sentence. You must have the three things. The subject, let's have a look at it. The subject, the verb, and the agreement. Okay? And then you have to make sure that you are using the correct verb. oh sorry, for example, the subject is my sister and I, so you have to make sure that you are using the correct verb. Alright, that's the end of the slideshow. Let's go back to here. Okay. It might be lengthy, but I hope that you now have the understanding on how to use the simple present tense correctly in writing sentences. Okay, just to recall it again. Okay, before this you have learned about the usage of verb to be in simple present tense, the is, am, and are. And now we are talking about sentences of which you are using verb like run, drive, jump, walk, go, those verb. Other verbs are also like watch, watches, watch, it becomes watches in Sihat group. Wash, it becomes washes, right? So you have to look at the sentence. You have to think which subject are you using in the sentence, what subject are you reading. If the subject belongs to the Sihat group, you have to make sure that the verb agrees to it. Okay, and the verb itself, some verb you have to add s, some verb you have to add es, some verb you have to add ies by removing y first. Okay, therefore I have this Google form for you, and you have to do it definitely. Like usual, make sure you type in your name. I've done it into sections. I have divided into different sections. The first section is for you to type in your name and your class, and then I gave you, I think, about 5 to 6 questions. The exercise on using is, am, and are. I also have another section about the usage of adding as or no as. Up to the next section, add es or no es, and the last one, add ies and no ies. You should take your time, look back at the Sihatiwyat formula that I have given you. Take your time, make sure that your answer is correct, check the subject. You should be able to find the correct answer. Okay, I do believe that you can do this. If you have any problems, don't forget to ask me. This is a very simple exercise. It's just that I need some time to explain to you. If you have any problems, you don't understand, let me know. I will try my best to help you. And with that, I would say goodbye. Thank you, everyone.